1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sound check. So, is it 5 minutes yet? Can you hear me? Okay, dear friends, Nika wrote me that she suggests that we make it 72-hour recording because when we need time to take into account all the time zones and the work of the translators, etc. So we have info from India. They offer premises. Well, 15,000 seats. Well, okay. Everyone back? Well, Nika, please, could you give us the link for the questions once again, and then we'll move on. What crypto unit is, why do we need it, and what it's going to give us. So, in a nutshell. One of the interesting things and valuable things I saw in the cryptocurrency is that the currency's price is growing. Calculative nature of the market and because of 30 years of market speculations, when people try to buy cheap and sell expensive. Remember, we're talking about bulls, that you make the bull grow and then you sell it and forget about it. Well, now people have a different mindset, especially in the investment market. They have a very perverted way of is that in the forex market they worked in the forex markets and then they left it because that was not the market to work on. We're talking about the real forex market. You need to have a share in the printing of those dollars and euros. So you need to be working in the banking sector in order to understand what's going on. So this guy left the market, and as Igor said, he invested in the startups showing great promise. He was a very good analyst. He invested in those companies that pays dividend. So Buffer is considered the hero of our time and the real investor, because for me an investor is not who goes for the speculative growth, but those who looks for dividends, good dividends. But unfortunately, because of the speculative nature of the investment market, we have the following: a lot of companies, especially energy companies, with high yield rates, and there is like this constant wars around the world, especially with Russia, because Russia has a lot of gas, and Russia for the United States is a serious competitor, because both Russia and the United States have different clans, and they are in charge of different analytical areas, and that's why they're not satisfied with them. And when they show you weak income in the energy sector, It makes you laugh because a lot of money is being stolen from the investors by different managers. That's why one of the ideals of business, I think, both invest in business and as a business of development, is the favorite person of many is Steve Jobs, who created the company, and then when he was fired as the CEO, he was the main shareholder, and then thanks to Bill Gates helped him get his company back, and he took his company to the new frontiers without being involved in the speculative growth. The financial sharks later on got involved. The capitalization is quite high of the company, and as Igor said, the assessment of the company the real evaluation is like 50 billions, the real one per year. So dear friends, the main task in the crypto area is the task that we've pursued, I personally, since 2007, when we created the new Economic Evolution of the World program. And when I met Mr. Unitsky and Skyway, I prioritized Igor Renenko knows and Koson that on the October the 1st, 2014, in October 2014, and I wanted to do it on the 15th of September or 1st of October, and the 15th of September 2011 I opened the Academy of Private Investment, and in the September 2014 I wanted to open the Global Investment Fund based on those principles that I was talking about right now. Then I met with Anatoly Unitsky, and I was very much interested in the topic Skyway, and when I had to choose between either the global investment portfolio or Skyway of Unitsky, many of you know that I meditate a lot, and I meditate every day for a week and even during the night in order to understand what choice should I make. And I chose Skyway because I realized that Skyway should be the priority, number one. Well, global portfolio can always be created. So on the other hand, I realized that the choice was right because cryptocurrency only started developing, and I guess I could have invested in Bitcoin because I had Bitcoins back then. A lot of people I trained paid me in Bitcoins, and we might have used Bitcoins and would make a lot of profits, and we've increased our portfolio, would have increased our portfolio, but I opted for Skyway because I realized that it was the driver behind the new trend in the development of new economy, especially the new economy of the world, the new evolution, economical evolution of the world. It's an AMI program. And those of you who remember when we opened back in 2014, I made a statement, and you can watch the video, that sooner or later we are going to have a portfolio, but the portfolio will not be for everyone. If you want to be part of that portfolio, you need to first invest in Skyway. This would be a good tool, and we could freely create a portfolio back then together with Igor Yamanenko, well, 0.5% up to 3, 4, 5% per month of yield, with 25-30% payment of the entire amount of profits paid back to the investors, and the rest would be invested in the extension of the portfolio. Those who studied in the academy and showed the comparisons in figures that I showed, you would understand that if you increase little amount in this business, you would make a lot of profits. And that's an example of any retail business. You start with a little money, then you develop, and eventually you have a very big business and a lot of profits compared to the initial investment capital. And compared, like 5 years later, compared to what you invested initially. And when you reinvest for 5 years in a row, in 5 years you have such a big capital that you can receive like 1,000% per month generated in the beginning, in addition to what you reinvested, because what you reinvest is capital income, like the $26,000 that we invested in the opening of the SWIG foundation, and now our portfolio is $11.5 million.
And the reason behind that is that we kept reinvesting the profits generated. Back in the very beginning, I wanted to have 1 billion of shares for the Skyway company, and we're actually following this path towards 1 billion shares in the fund. We're currently involved in negotiations with some of the partners that are ready to provide the funds for us in order for the crypto unit to be implemented in the transportation sector. We will have some targeted projects as well. So these individuals want us to provide the funds, through the cryptocurrency program, because we had a case when major investors were banned from addressing Mr. Unitsky, and the company actually failed to lose this money. And today these people know our program of crypto unit, and they want to answer our activities through this program because they want this money to be used for the target projects, and they want to have the shares of Skyway. So one of my desires actually is $50,000 million US, which we still need. And what's behind this figure? We needed to have some 20 kilometers of the highway constructed, and we certainly will derive certain profit from that. And why do we need those 50 kilometers of constructions? Because 15 kilometers or 20 kilometers is actually nothing. We just accelerate for 5 seconds and it's time for braking. So according to the declaration and the business plan, we initially were supposed to have some 30 or 35 kilometers, because this allows to accelerate till 500 kilometers per hour and then start braking. But if we have a 50 kilometers of constructed highways, then this will provide completely different opportunities. So we'll probably need some 50 kilometers of highways constructed. Now, speaking about the basics of crypto units, and if we compare it to other currencies, to other tokens, when we were compiling the global portfolio, we wanted to achieve a system of mutual settlement between the users. And when we had the cooperation system in Skyway, actually we have a film which is dedicated to this cooperation system, so I suggest that you should open your personal account, and it has the videos on that topic. So we created a consumers association Eurasia, and one of the major objectives for us for the nearest future is to create such cooperation systems in all the countries, and we will have cooperatives in all the countries, and we'll unite them into a union of cooperators. This will provide splendid opportunities and great benefits. Sorry, I have my kid with me. Okay, come on. You can say hello to everyone. Hi everyone. No, it's not your granny. These are our partners, my dear. Okay, go ahead. I'm coming. Your father is coming. Okay. I'll come back to you in half an hour. So, my dear friends, we need to have a system of mutual settlement established. And for the cooperation system, this is a very serious element due to the fact that the technological progress is developing at a breakneck speed. We are having a digital system which will ensure mutual settlements among the users. So the crypto unit, just like any other cryptocurrency, like any other type of money, is pursuing the following objective: to ensure the operation of the mutual settlement between the users. Previously, 1 gram of gold actually had a steep price, so you don't have to have a pile of meat or a ton of other products, because instead of it you have a gram of gold which is used as a tool for mutual settlement. So basically we are pursuing the two main objectives for the crypto unit. We need to have assets that are growing, and one of the main objectives for the name program is to create a global investment portfolio with purchasing of assets. And whenever it is necessary, we can also purchase banks or establish our own ones. Whenever it is necessary, we can also work in the product area or in the recreation area, as well as with the production clusters and agricultural clusters. Today, the agricultural area is developing, and there are a lot of genetically modified products on the market. And the main objective is to reduce the natal functions in the countries of the world, especially in those countries where the birth rate is really high. So actually this is one of the tools to curb development. So the genetically modified product actually deteriorate the quality of our life, and they deteriorate the health condition and deprive men and women of the of reproduction functions. So besides, these classes generate huge profits. With this in mind, one of the objectives of reformatting the economic evolution of the world is actually about creation of a society focused on consumption of its own produced goods. And just imagine, all of us, or some 15% of the population of the world, are the co-investors of all the energy systems. Let us take some 20%. If gold or if oil or gas demonstrate a surge in the price, then we all benefit from that. But speaking about ecology, we should actually abandon such a mindset. So there are two issues here which are really important. We should either have revolution or evolution. But what is evolution about? We need to create a system for making money with which we can have as much money as necessary in order to purchase all the production facilities. And we can do whatever we like about that, being the owners. And as Petri and Andrei have told me, this can have a serious detrimental impact on the financial operators and the financial system. But we need to talk to those financial operators. We need to have discussions with them, and they will understand that we are actually rather a blessing than a curse for them, because the entire financial system is on the brink of destruction, is on the verge of a chasm. And if we don't have some serious changes in place, if we don't have some breakthroughs, if we don't have some revolutions, well, I don't like this word revolution. Revolution is bullshit, because revolution is about destroying. So we need to change some of the components in the operating schemes. For example, it's just like about changing a bearing within a car. You can just change some small parts, and it will actually improve the overall operation, the overall performance of your vehicle. And actually the idea behind reformatting of the economy is to create a new step, a new stage for the development of the humanity. And we need some units of measurements, and the word unit from the English language is actually referring to a tool for measurement, but why is everyone so negative about cryptocurrencies today? Well, actually, crypto is about ciphering, is about coding, is about coding the measurement units. Why do we need a ciphering tool? Because we need to have direct interaction between the producer and the client, or the client and the client. So we need to have some peer-to-peer interaction, which is to be ciphered. But at the same time, it should be open. Because if some criminal who wants to perform some malicious acts, we should understand that this system needs to be decentralized, but it shouldn't be decentralized completely. And I will explain that to our managers later on. So a decentralized system is a system which can be used to deprive people of their businesses and currencies. And Ethereum is a good example of that. Ethereum is one of the major crypto tokens. So this is a crypto coin which serves as the basis for all other tokens that are being developed today. So the Ethereum, if you take a look into its history, a huge number of Ethereum tokens have been stolen, and there is also an official version which was published by the representatives of the Ethereum technology. So according to it, a lot of businesses were actually closed down, shut down forcibly through decentralization. So there needs to be a system. The system should be centralized actually, but it should be open. And we'll discuss that with our managers. We need to understand the benefits of it. And we need to abandon the polemics. And we need to understand that the crypto unit will include a major investment portfolio. The more assets we purchase, the more benefits will be shared by the users. Since people are the users, they are clients actually. They are consumers of many goods. And people actually will benefit from that. And I have already raised a lot of examples featuring this technology. So a crypto unit is a unit for mutual settlement among users. It is to be ciphered, and it is to be based on smart contracts. Yes, indeed, we will have a smart contract. We will be working with Ethereum, which is about smart contracts. And if we're doing STO, well, I have been asked the following question. If we have Ethereum, and many companies are no longer producing video cards, what is STO then about? Why do we need those tokens? People who want to invest through STO need to have a guarantee that their money enter the company, but not are just accumulated, and somehow arbitrarily spent. So people need some guarantees. And a smart contract is a guarantee of the fact that once you have invested into this token, you will necessarily have it paid off. So the STO is used for the long-term investors' purposes. And normally, these are opted for by the people who want to have some serious profits, but not those who are about some speculative investments only. So it's just about some speculation. It's bullshit. And STO was developed for investors in order to be protected. As for the crypto area, there is a huge community which wants to have some guarantees, which wants to have some security, and which wants to stimulate development. And we are ready to provide those guarantees. We're ready to declare everything officially. We're ready to provide accounting. We're actually going to do the same stuff as the one done by joint stock companies. But at the same time, on a quarterly basis, just like American companies, just like European companies do, they do it once a year. But instead, we're going to provide accounting, and we're going to do the reporting every month. In future, we're going to create a system for mutual interaction among the users, which will have the accounting embedded, and the operations financed through the through the crypto units. These will be also included into our accounting mechanisms, and that will give an insight for the users to into the way we spend money and into the way money is invested, where it comes from and where it goes to. So naturally, the balance sheet of the enterprises are sometimes really complicated for people to understand. So one of the major objectives for us is to train people, to help them to understand the balance sheets and to help them understand how they are investing. If you live in the world of money, if you become an investor, it is your obligation to understand many terms, but this is not too complicated. And it can be explained through basic terms like Igor did with the example of a bull and a cow. So we need to analyze all that information. Why do we need that? If we don't do that now, in some 5 or 8 years, if we don't do that, in some 10 or 15 years, we'll probably approach a strong financial crisis. The robotization and the automations of the production cycle will force many people out of their jobs, and they will not be able to pay for their accommodation, for their meals, for the education of their children, and so on and so forth. As a result, we may approach a social abyss, which is very often featured by some sci-fi movies. But this is actually can be nothing if compared to what we will face in real terms. So once the 15 or 20 or 25% of the population will be the co-owners of all the enterprises, where they are at the same time users and consumers of the products manufactured, and if they will be the co-owners of the retail products produced by the major enterprises, and if all of that is united into a major holding, may be specialized in production of wheat as well as cultivation of other cultures, and all of that will actually require a system operating some tokens or some units for exchange among the users, and a crypto unit can be such a unit actually. This is why we need it, and this will actually be ensuring the rapid growth for the economy. All the companies, all the enterprises that can be purchased through the crypto technology will be further developed, and their assets will be developed as well. So we will be developing the real sector of the economy. We will be developing the skyway infrastructure. And we will use the funds raised to develop the target projects. I will demonstrate that to my managers later on. So having no money, last year, for example, in Moscow, we were told by the government that they need a circular road, and they told us finally that they wanted to cooperate with us, I mean the cooperation of development, and currently we are holding negotiations about that. So we're discussing the means that we can attract, the means that we can raise, but we have a project, we have a program which allows us to raise those funds. So what we need today is just 1/10 or 1/15 part of that sum of money, and the rest can be easily generated. And this will allow us to boost our development. So this is what we do. Speaking about the interest rates, we will also generate some huge revenues, but sometimes the money that is raised is not allocated in a socially just way, but we're going to change the situation radically. So just for you to understand, I would like to bring up a simple example. Mr. Yuniski is about to introduce some radically new technologies, and we're going to take the harmful production facilities out into the Earth orbit, away from the ground, and we will raise even more funds. Actually, today money is actually printed, but we're going to approach this procedure in a radically different way. Just like Igor demonstrated to us today, we can have some major revenues generated for development, and this ensures major capitalization, and this in turn brings some major capitalization. So I'll bring you some real life examples, and we'll show you how it works. What will it give us? First and foremost, the opportunity. This will enable crypto units to grow in its price, and we are planning the following. We'll start with $80 billion US.
And then we'll launch within the first program, we'll launch 30 billion before STO, before the security token offering. And then we'll be at 20-50 cents. That's the assets value under crypto unit. So that institutional investors would say, well, would be eager to invest. Then, since the crypto unit will grow, and one of the main goals that we set before us is for people to be willing to keep those crypto units. Let me give you a simple example and answer me. What is more profitable for you if you know that after some time the shares that you have will, the price will be $1,000 plus big dividends? Are you going to sell it or are you going to keep it? Oh, so our goal is to make crypto unit a currency you can pay with all the permitting documents. So one of the main goals is to make people keep it and earn on dividends, and to have like $20,000 worth of dividends in 2 years. So then why should we sell it? Well, it's easier to, of course, for some people it would be easier to sell it right away or to pay it with it, and it will help us, and it will, but those crypto units will provide, will yield dividends, and will have not a blockchain system, although we do plan to launch a block system as well later, but this system is called interchange system. You need a contract, not a smart contract, because a smart contract guarantees that you will receive some certain amount of money, while the controlled contract will be 2-in-1, that you will receive your money plus so when you are sent one crypto unit and you see that if someone tries to fake the amount of money you have, like you receive one crypto unit by someone will tell you that you have 1 million of them, then the mechanism of controlled contract will protect against this type of confidence man tricks. So we're talking about the interchange system, as I told you. So now we can see everything electronically, and it's going to help us in working in many new areas. And please write all your questions in the table of questions. That's where I'm going to answer them. So this will enable people. So remember I told you that whether people would keep the share or would keep making profits from the dividends. So from 5 to 20% of the money will be allocated for the dividend profits, and most of it will be invested, because if we have very good proposals where we can invest, like if we invest 1 million and in 1 year time we get 10 millions, of which 5 millions we get to keep and 5 million will be sold, and we get this 500% gross, and then we give 5% as a profit and 95% we invest in the business. But in future, when we have blockchain and when I would like to create in the voting system, that's where we need blockchain, because in the voting system, I'll turn up the volume. So that's where we need the blockchain. So it will be not decentralized, but it will be open, because you can take everything from it. And we are working in the system of cooperation not based on the number. You'll be able to vote no based on the number of tokens, on the amount of tokens you have. But even if you have 1 token, you'll have the same 1 vote as the person who has 1 million tokens. This is intended to create a fair system of interchange between the keeper of the token and the strategies that we develop in order for most people to be able to vote for what we want to do today. So the crypto unit will be based on the global investment portfolio, and the system of blockchain, the interchange system, we will work on them for 2 or 3 years, because they require serious work, because we can either take the already existing parameters to create a blockchain, because there are a lot of developers now of blockchain technologies, or we can work on it for 3 or 4 years on our own. But there is a system of interchange, and that should be created from scratch, and we're going to invest money not by attracting money from the investment, but we'll say we're creating this. When we're going to create it, people will know. And when I worked in the trade business, I saw how people failed because they wanted to open a retail outlet. They borrowed money from their friends or other strangers. They didn't have enough money, and they didn't finish building their outlet, and they failed. But what I invested, if I wanted to build something, I invested in the development. If I wanted to build some kind of trading areas, I invested into the trade, and then I made profit from that trade, and used the money from profit to invest into the development. So I realized that using little money with good yield, you can make a lot of money, and then you can use that money for your development. This is one of the major principles, and I spoke with the managers, those who attended the meetings after event in Belarus. I showed you the example of a currency exchange point. So we're not talking about the payments here only that we would like to receive, but the banking sector does not just pressing us down. They are literally smothering us, and we need to receive fast and decent financing. In India, it can be targeted project. And we need quick money. We need to deliver money quickly from Belarus, from India to Belarus with a feasibility study, for the technical documentation. And then again, we're gonna deal with the banking sphere. Why should we? We'll buy a bank of our own there. We'll create a system of expedited money delivery, and then we'll make that money go to Belarus through our system. And the commission fees that would have paid to the banking sphere would stay with us. This is going to be our profit. And then it will take us faster because the system belongs to us. So this is the first aspect. The second aspect is that people cannot get bonuses, especially in the United States. They promised us that they're going to connect the United States, but they did not. So the United States were not connected for us to withdraw the bonuses. So we're trying to figure out how to do it, maybe through the cryptocurrencies, all those exchanges through the bitcoins. And when we create our own guaranteed financial sector system, people will be able to receive those bonuses. So we'll be able not only to provide for ourselves internally, but there will be a lot of new users that are in need of those things. They will use our system and will get 5-8% commission fee for such transfers. This is a fast transfer system. And then this is the exchange system between fiat currencies and cryptocurrencies. This is another way of earning money. So we can also involve merchants here that could work through our merchants. Our centers, first of all, we could use our own, extend our own capabilities. We need to create 1,000 representatives across the globe, or even more, because the ultimate objective is 5,000. And this is so we will offer our own alternative system of interchange, internal financial system, and it will be a prototype of a bank branch, which will offer us very good possibilities and promises. And next is global brokerage. It's a very serious problem. If a physical entity, individual wants to buy Apple shares, he will find it very hard to do. We first establish relations with a broker, then we'll become brokers ourselves, and we'll penetrate all markets in those countries, in those stock exchange markets that we're interested in. So through partnership, we can through our partners that have licenses, we already are negotiating with many of those partners in different countries, and they are interested in becoming our partners because we offer very good promises and after we become partners, they will receive the opportunity to have guaranteed growth, and we will be able to penetrate those stock exchange platforms and get all the tools from there that we need. As Igor Romanenko has been working for 1.5 years now in the IPO, and I hope that Igor will manage in our brokerage companies the area and response related to the IPO, so that we not have to resort to brokers, but so that we are able to do the IPO on our own, through our own company, and would save lots of money and lots of interest. But at first we'll have to work with a lot of broking companies in partnership, and maybe in future they will be part of our group. There will be a happy merger, because we have an option to suggest that the business owner works with us and will sell this company to us while still remaining the manager of that company. Quite an interesting way of cooperating when we meet personally, in person. I will give you examples, real-life examples, that ultimately resulted in the growth, because the ultimate goal is not to win them all, but we will be able to win only if everyone wins. Because if you win and someone loses, it's not a victory. A victory is when everyone wins. Why, when today we suggest, offer Skyway projects in Russia and other countries, we show them. And people like it, and everyone wins. So this is a win-win situation. And as for the introduction and launching, I'll upload the questionnaire. So press plus who would like to be part of the crypto unit program. Okay, perfect. Who would like to involve even more people in Skyway, in support of Skyway? Yeah, that would be great, people. And writing. Okay. Oh, 2, 3, 4 months. For 2, 3, 4 months, it's going to be a closed club. We'll have an office. And how can you get into that club, closed club? You can invest. It's around $1,000. We said that in Malaysia. But there were a lot of proposals for us to think it over again, and we took into account the opinions of our partners and our leaders, and there was a proposal to make it $500, $200, $250, $300, so that people could buy even a bigger package, which the crypto unit is part of. So this is going to be a closed club, and you can come and buy the package, which consists of crypto units only if you invested. And it doesn't make any difference whether you invested before or not. In order to make part of that club, you need to become a co-investor of SWIG, to buy APE, and then become a co-owner of Skyway. The amount is under discussion right now, and I guess we're going to make it one of the questions. Yeah, I wrote it already. So one of the amounts there in the questionnaire. So in your opinion, what amount you would like to invest? and what would be the approximate amount. So why we're doing it, since this is an exclusive offer, especially there will be 8 stages. I'll upload the questionnaire and you'll be able to read it yourself. So there will be 3 stages, 3 parts of an introduction of its implementation, part 1, 2, and 3.
So you are free to fill it out. So what objective do we pursue? Look, we have 135,000 investors in SWIG. Let us assume that 27,000 investors want to invest their funds in the amount of $500 each. Let us do the calculations. We have 30,000 investors investing 500 each. Investing 500 each, sorry. So it equals $15 million. Thus, Skyway will raise $15 million. Out of those, 7.5 will be raised by investors. So the maximal amount that we had was 8. But as soon as people will start receiving the dividends, then the situation will change.
Люди захотят. Для того,
Will be willing to participate. In order to enter the closed club, you will have to be a co-investor of SWIG. Thus, within 3 or 5 months, we will provide the company with approximately 50 or 150 million US dollars. Probably will even raise some 200 million US dollars. And as a result, thus we will make sure that the root technology will be closed. That's the first thing. Why do we do that? We need to attract the investment in a faster way in order to ensure the constructions of the high-speed trails. So let us take 20%. That's the ideal scenario. And people will naturally be willing to participate. Ideally, we should raise some 7.5 million. We will ensure the 100% financing, and this would be the ideal scenario. But certainly, it is just about the statistics. And these 135,000 investors will start actively participating when we will ensure some 2 or 2.5% growth per month. Naturally, this will attract a huge number of people who will start standing in a queue in order to participate. But by that time, the first 3 stages will be completed. So many of you are probably watching us through YouTube, and we have the crypto unit program which allows to become a stockholder of a global investment fund which operates in all these segments of the investment market, notably education, as well as multi-level crowd investing sector, as well as co-ownership of businesses, including venture funds, PIFs, participation in the establishment of new companies, as well as in the operation of the presently existing projects. Another sector is the longevity sector and healthcare sector, transportation sector, banking sector, stock markets. I mean the stock markets of the entire world. All the best known and reputable stock markets will be engaged. We're going to consider all the existing tools. Igor is already doing that with his people. We're going to have the currency markets and the cryptocurrency markets, the insurance sector, the real estate sector, the innovative development sector, meaning that we will invest some of our funds into the innovations, agriculture, the social development sector, the scientific sector, the cultural sector, the precious and semi-precious stones sector, the precious and semi-precious metal sector, the spaceway system, the spaceway project. Few of you know what it is about, but this is actually a project by Mr. Yuniski, and I'm eager to participate in it as well, because this is one of the areas in which we will have highly profitable investments, especially for those who will invest at the earliest stages. Just imagine, they will produce everything for humans, for the human race, and certainly the population of the Earth will be growing, and in some 30 years the Earth will be overpopulated. If there are no global cataclysms, the population will surge to 30 billion people, and Mr. Yunitsky will be providing services for all these people, and this is about really high profits. So by that time, some 20 or 25% of the population of the Earth should become co-owners of all the energy systems. Now the 20th sector is the charity sector. This is one of the major objectives. We should always participate in charity activities. The implementation of the project is divided into 3 parts. The first one is the SDO, which is split into 8 steps. The SDO will be launched on the 15th of March or the 15th of April. So by that time we are supposed to open up. The rest of the steps will be made during the following periods. We should ensure the dividend revenue through the development of the system with the annual payments of 20-25% of the interest generated by the programs for each of the token. Why will it be expedient to enter this program in the beginning? Because we are going to pay the money not for the money invested but for the amount of cryptocurrencies held by each of the participants. So the more tokens you will have, the longer you'll be able to receive the dividends. The most reasonable way is to buy those during the first 8 steps, because the second part of the project is about the participation of other cryptocurrencies. We're going to introduce that on the 1st of December of 2019, and it'll probably take a 1.5 years. But our major objective is to introduce the prioritized technologies this year, ideally, should we have enough time to do so. Next goes global merchandising of the crypto unit, underpinned by all the segments of the investment market. So we'll have several billion of US dollars in the cryptocurrencies. We'll form a global package for cryptocurrencies in 2019, and we will complete this work by the year 2028, which means that we need to create some capital revenue by that time. 50% or 20% will be invested into the Skyway, and it'll further on generate some 30% of revenue from this capital, or probably even more. For the market price, this figure can be even higher. The initial value of the crypto unit is $1. The market value, once we have this capital, will make $1,250 for one crypto unit. So the dividend revenue by the end of the third program will be at the level of $1-50 per one token of the cryptocurrency. And here you can fill out this questionnaire.
Видишь, я еще разговариваю. А ты что, перестал смотреть? Давай еще посмотри, 20 минут, хорошо? Приду, конечно.
Я уже 20 минут.
Хорошо, еще 20 минут, сынок. Да,
We have Titania saying that our objective is to save the planet and the huge money will help us in that. Certainly, but we need to know how to raise that money and how to form the investment revenue with high profitability. And now, once we have a huge number of consumers united in a single chain, then we will be able to create revenues, which I'm going to discuss once we have the rest of the details discussed on the 2nd of March. We're going to attend the Master Prof event and the Millionaire in one year. During this event, I'm going to discuss all these technicalities. So once you have any questions about the program, please fill them out in the questionnaire. As I can see, there are 12 responses. We'll have the messages sent to each of you at the end of March. What makes it specific and unique? It is the fact that we have a bonus program as well. And for the first 12 months, it is similar to SWIG. But we have one of the products which will be launched. And I would like to tell you straight out that it'll ensure even higher profits. We already have some, but we need to ensure further development. Whatever is available on the market is not enough, and whatever we are going to come up with has never been offered. So this offer, this suggestion will strengthen our development and strengthen the development of similar projects operating in this area, because they will turn into a part of our program. And I'm sure of that. The main principle is here to ensure the benefit for each and every one of the participants. And there are really good development trends that will ensure that. Please fill out the questionnaire and we'll receive your responses. And we will analyze that and we'll have some analytical review performed. As for WhatsApp and Telegram, we will disseminate the questionnaires in the groups as well, so you'll have the opportunity to fill them out as well there. We still have some 3 days for the webinar, and the questionnaire will be disseminated among many of the SWIG groups. Okay, now let us proceed to the Q&A session. Tutkin Sergey has the following question. Will we be able to convert the crypto units into the, or the shares into the crypto units, and what will be the exchange rate? Well, we are basically focused on the Skyway Invest group. We're not discussing the Skyway Invest tokens, because the program of Skyway Invest tokens is currently being developed. It is being shaped, and in the near future it will be presented as soon as it is ready. But we'll have it in place 100% sure. But this is a different project. This is a different program, just for you to understand. Skyway tokens have a website, and there are really serious blockchains being formed. There are really serious systems for automation of management and service provided for all the clients who will be using Skyway services. So actually the work is really substantial, and there are some minor delays right now. But the program of crypto unit is the program of SWIG, so the share that you have cannot be exchanged for crypto units. Your shares will be only exchanged for Skyway tokens. I believe I have responded to your question. Will the partners be able to exchange their shares and buy a portfolio? Well, it's not about purchasing a portfolio. One of the important features of our system, I mean the payment system, which will be called Uni Global Payment, and we are currently receiving the corresponding licenses and authorization. So this is actually a prototype of banking where we will have multi-currency wallets and work with investment markets. The constructor of the portfolio will be also available, so you'll be able to create a training portfolio for yourselves. And whatever you're referring to, saying the word portfolio is not a portfolio as such, it is about crypto units. And you will be able to enter the crypto unit program and receive a corresponding number of tokens. Because we are not selling crypto units, you are not buying those, you just enter the program and you receive a token. So what you're paying for is the entrance or accession to the program. When we'll create the program for operation of the tokens, what platform are you referring to? What do I mean by this question? When will we create the platform for operation of the tokens? What platform are you referring to? What tokens are you referring to? What kind of work do you mean? Speaking about the purchasing and selling, that will be enabled at the stock exchange. We want to work with the exchange. We want to buy some of the exchanges. Or we'll probably act as co-owner of those. Because for us, the work of this exchange and the sales of tokens will be free. Besides, these exchanges will, in fact, work for us. How many units will you have for 1,000 of US dollars? At stage 1, if you enter stage 1 for 1,000 of US dollars, you will receive, let me have a look, 450,000 tokens. Next question. Can you discuss the crypto units at the closed meeting? Because people need to receive information in the countries from the representatives. Well, deplorably, Pavel, I do understand you, but the representatives, well, they do not have the entire information. And for this reason, we met here in order for you to have the full information available. In quarter 3 and quarter 4, the Skyway tokens will be emitted to the world exchanges. Well, yes, indeed, that's right. We have this plan at least, but it's hard to say for sure. I can't say anything about Skyway Invest token. I have the same information as you do, and it's available on the website of the company. I mean the Skyway token website. I have 56,000 of shares, and the crypto exchange has been authorized, but no development has taken place. Well, address the support service with us. What shall I buy first? A share of Skyway while it's available, a crypto unit, or shall I wait for SWIG tokens? Well, it's entirely up to you. And in order to make the corresponding decision, you need to understand what you want actually. You have said that during the pre-FCO period, we still have 20 days, but 4 months have passed. Well, basically, I was referring to whatever was published on the website, and the website on the information published on the website says that ICO is to start on the 10th of December, which was preceded by pre-FCO. You need to address the Sky Token website with that question. And Skyway coin as well. I have a major request to Nick, or who's supporting me, I mean the guys from the technical support service. Please submit a reference, a link to the Skyway Invest Token website, because people need to ask their questions there. Next up, can you elaborate on the strategy of the sales of shares at the price of $3 or $5? When will it be implemented? How are you going to close, and when are you going to close the entrance to the root technology? Well, basically one of our major objectives is to create a website for crowd investing. There we will have the price of $3 or $5 set or assigned to the shares. What is the objective? The objective is as follows.
Well, we need to, in order to penetrate some of the financial markets, we need to show that we are collecting money, raising money like this for targeted projects. So our crowd investing platform, and we are raising money because when we face some authorities that they ask us, where do you going to take money from? And we're doing it in order to show them that that's where the money will come from. And when the access will be close to the root technology, and you will know that the shares won't be sold anywhere else, then of course, when we set it at $3-5 for the targeted projects, in order to get the shares of the root technology, because in our portfolio we have at the moment a lot of so we will get a good opportunity to have a guaranteed sales at $1. I hope you understood the strategy when we start. Well, not when will it is already underway. And what you mean by the implementation of the Moscow project? Well, in my opinion, it is already underway because we are already negotiating and we have done a lot of work. So we're not like talking, but we have already the work group ongoing, and 95% of the company will be handed over in March or in mid-April, because we first relocated the company to Moscow region. Now we have to wait, and then we'll hand over 95%, and then we'll report to our main founder, and then he will report to you. We won't be able to report to you. So when we'll have STO and when it will be launched, I already said. So can we change part of our shares as it was with the root company? No, unfortunately you won't be able to change, because when you purchase educational programs, you will receive shares. So we fulfilled our commitments. So these shares that you own, they are not held by us, but by the company. So I entered the root company in 2014. So another comment is that we could not exchange our shares for crypto units. My son joined in 2014. First of all, you had to change it in Skyway for crypto units, and I told you today how you can do it. Can shares in the crypto unit be converted, and at what exchange rate? Well, I don't really get, okay, the conversion of the shares. No, there won't be no such thing. The shares in Skyway and crypto units are two separate projects. Can we integrate our units with Dobro coin? Because Dobro coin will be supported both by the on-ground business and world-class IT developments? Well, I don't know. We'll have to see what Dobercoin is all about, because a lot of companies that claim to have a lot of profits, after close scrutiny, realize that they are not very well aware in investments and they don't know what capital income is. And we invest in some projects, and I usually say that the next time we invest, the manager, the CEO, has to undergo training before we continue investing, and training in investment with us. Because if a person doesn't understand what investments are and what finances are and what planning is, then sooner or later he will have his business fail, and I don't want to invest in such business. So first of all, we need to understand what Dobercoin is, who stands behind it, how capable the person behind it capable to manage the processes, and if it's a promising area, why shouldn't we somehow work together? Because we will receive a license, and where we can, thanks to which we can exchange our crypto unit for any other crypto unit, cryptocurrency. Will there be a broadcast? Okay. Will there be a broadcast from Moscow in June? Because we are about the network business 2.0, because we're from Ukraine and won't be able to participate physically, so we'd like to watch the stream. I don't know about this year. Last year it was possible and it was streamed, and the host will tell us. Well, I don't know why you said that you cannot fly to Moscow from Ukraine. You can always do it through Belarus, unless you are, and if you're not a politician. But nevertheless, we met even with such people in Belarus, in Moscow. So I see no obstacles for you to come. So what would be the expected price of crypto unit when it is sold on the market in the stock exchange? So in June we'll try to be on the stock exchange, but I am not sure we will be able, and the price of the crypto unit will be the market price of the assets. I don't want to add any markups and speculate here. We will explain to you when there is speculation in relation to our crypto units, but if they try to speculate, we will show the real value of our crypto unit and what it is based on. So if there will be, if they tell us that it is $1 worth while the real market value is $10, okay, we can tell you that. If you want to buy at $10, please do, but we will say that the real market value is $1. And it will be interesting for those who would like to receive passive income and those who would like to work with us through the exchange system, fast payment systems, because if you hold crypto units, remember those who So back in 1992, when if you sold foreign currency, you had some backup money, both in rubles and in dollars. So those partners who will work both with dollars or with traditional currency and crypto units, we'd like them to have more crypto units, because since we're going to have currency exchange, they will be able to earn more, but the main currency should be crypto units for them. This is our objective. Another question, how how are you going to use crypto units? Well, as far as the future is concerned, imagine that you come to a country in a hotel and you see the logo of the crypto unit, Union Pay, MasterCard, Visa, and you'll see a crypto unit, and you can use the crypto unit bank cards as well. Our next goal is the different stores and restaurants chains, and this is our ultimate goal, and for it to be well convertible and against Skyway tokens, in order for it to work in synergy with Skyway token. So people write me in Spanish as well. When are we going to receive from the investment fund and at what interest? We cannot guarantee you the receipt of interest. We can guarantee you the following: from 5 to 20% as it is declared right now, from 5 to 20% of the profits will be allocated for tokens. For example, you buy 10 billion tokens. Well, people buy. They join the program, and we sold 10 billion tokens. And our profits is $100 million. So we divide it by 10 billion tokens, and we have certain profit per each token. So you can do the math. 10 million divided by 10 billion equals so it equals 1 cent per token if you have tokens. You can do the math how many dollars you get. So why it is so? Because we want to invest as much as possible in the development, and when we have a lot of assets bought against all those tokens, and when we achieve the minimum that we are striving for, then we will give out higher share of profits based on the voting, on the votes given by the token keepers. Well, I'll take other 10 minutes worth of questions because my son wants my attention. So I'll take last questions here. Another question: could you please give us more information about this invitation-only club or closed clubs? Well, and who can get there? We will decide what will be the entrance fee in Malaysia. It was said it was going to be $1,000. Then we received proposals to make it $500 or $250. Some of them said 700. Well, it will be 250 or 500. So if a person pays in SWIG $250, then he can change any program in his personal cabinet and his personal account. We have different programs: $100, $250, $500, $800, $1,000, $1,500, and $8,000. So we have a total of 8 programs for you to choose from. And at stage 1, you'll have 20,000 tokens for $100. For 150, it will be 105,000, etc. And for $8,000, you'll get 4 million something tokens. So you can see it in your personal account, and you can, today, you can go to the Academy of Private Investor, IPO Eurasia, and the same thing you'll see CRU crypto unit. It's in Russian. It's Control Revision Department, it's called. So another good question, how can we make part of the project using the money we already invested? And how Mr. Unitsky will treat it. So why are we doing this? We are moving to the next stage, and first of all, 5 years have passed, and if we do not come up with a product for people, I see the following outcome: Skyway funding. And then there will be a proposal for Mr. Unitsky to pay everyone and give the money to the physicist, and then we will finance it. So do you want Mr. Unitsky to buy all your shares at the current market value at 20 cents or something? And you won't be shareholders anymore, and you won't be able to participate in many targeted projects. That's why. And thirdly, for you to understand, new proposals to Mr. Unitsky from the governments. So 50% will be funded by the government and 50% by Unitsky, or this in the by Skyway on behalf of Unitsky, and the government will sell shares, and you can buy shares from the government through stock exchanges. Oh, but I would like to also be able to affect the growth in the price of the shares. Let's imagine that we built 100,000 kilometers of roads, and we go into the stock exchange in the United Kingdom or Moscow or in China or even the United States, and I know how to increase it up to $100. $10 per 100,000 kilometers. The speculative growth will be up to $10. There is no audio feed. It comes and goes. So So we have 1 billion people, and we are aiming at buying at $20. Everyone buys one share, $20 each, or 10 shares each. So we have 10. So do you think the market will grow? The big sharks set a goal at $5, and we buy it at 20, and they will have to buy at a higher price. Well, if we set it at $10, then it will be twofold increase, and we'll tell them, let's make it $30 that we want to buy at that price.
$100, им потом это по $50. Понимаете, да? Для того, чтобы это грамотность, чтобы мы влияли на рынок.
It is us who should exert some pressure on the market.
Чтобы мы влияли на рост акций Skyway.
It is us who should affect the price of Skyway shares, but not anyone else. And normally financial shocks should eat some smaller fish, and all of us are that smaller fish. So it is the same about whales who are eating plankton, and the plankton is actually us.
Сейчас, сыночка. Будет дальше. Еще 10 минут, сынок, еще идем. Куда ты пошел? Так вот, сынок, что ты сюда? Хорошо. Так вот, дорогие друзья.
So, my dear friends, what am I driving at? How I am going to respond to the last question. Well, I'd like to tell you that thanks to our efforts, we will provide Skyway with even more funds. And I'm absolutely sure that we will be able to ensure further development. But we shouldn't be compared to anyone. Actually, we are partners with Mr. Unitsky. Unitsky actually wanted to hire me once. He wanted to appoint me his first deputy. And I agreed actually, but then I declined because I told him that I wanted to open the Skyway Invest Group fund in order to become his partner, but not employee. So the only thing Mr. Unitsky can announce is that he no longer wants to work with SWIG. And this is quite probable, why not? But at the same time, we're bringing even more money. And while today we have raised some $5.5 million in November, we had $3.5 million. Later, some 1,800,000 in January, which is natural. But thanks to this program, we will be raising 10 to 20 million a month. And I believe it's quite positive. I don't see anything negative about that. So I don't have this anxiety, I don't share it with you. If supposedly Mr. Unitsky tells us that he wants to close down the crowd investing, then he will receive the money for implementation of the root technology funds, but we had some negotiations with him, and he knows that we need those projects at the preliminary stages, and we can freely address him with money and tell him that we already have that money available. Is that clear? So I have been asked such questions by our leaders, and I discussed that with Anatoly Unitsky previously, and we signed a contract with him according to which I am free to manage my fund at my discretion, and we are not promoting it through SWIG, but we're promoting it through a different platform. Moreover, I'd like to tell you, just for you to understand, that presently I am preparing a marketing program, and even if all of our leaders do not join the crypto unit program, it will be still launched with you or without you, because I have already allocated certain efforts in this area. I'm presently involved in marketing, and you still have some time, April and May, to join this closed club, because I'm currently actively developing the marketing strategy all around the world, and I will launch it anyway. I know how it works. Let me give you a simple example. I launched the Academy in 2011, and in 3 years I had 60,000 active subscribers, and in 3 years I was subscribed by 120,000 individuals. When I was introduced to Skyway, a lot of people came from the Academy to support Skyway, and a lot of volumes are now done by people who used to be in the Academy or with the Academy. I hope you understand. In any way, the crypto unit program will be launched. In any case, I'm preparing these marketing programs, and we will be joined by leaders probably, so the leading programs will be transferred to the leaders. Initially, Petra will be responsible for that. Leaders initially, once we have this marketing strategy implemented in YouTube and Instagram as well as in other social networks, once we have this promotion in place, we'll have a lot of activities. And if no one joins us, I will just introduce that into my first level. I just know how to do that. Can anyone of you do it? Can anyone boast having 1,600 people registered in January? Can anyone boast that? Meanwhile, I have done that thanks to my manager, Daria, who's assisting me with that. I hope you understand me. So, I'd like to tell you the following. Why am I doing that? I'm doing it in order to further on implement the Skyway project, but I also want people, as it was declared in the beginning of SWIG, I mean the investors and the partners, to have some exclusive portfolio. But this exclusive portfolio will be accessible only through the shares of Skyway. Today, we have done that in this way. We have a closed club which can be only acceded to once you have invested into Skyway. And this will increase the turnover and the financing received by Skyway. Well, the accession will be available during 3 days. We've decided to open it for 3 days. How can one access a closed club? Let us repeat that. I'm submitting to you a link. So use this link to access the response. And now the last question. Are we going to work with the crypto that is already sold on the exchange? Yes, you will be able to use Ethereum as well as other cryptocurrencies. Will be present at 6 leading exchanges. What exchanges these are, you'll find out about that a bit later once we complete the closed club. It will be all declared officially at the website. Moreover, we are planning to provide you with the opportunity to pay with bonuses purchased in SWIG to acquire crypto units. You have promised to present some crypto units to the partners. At which stage will that happen? Well, you're a bit confused, I guess. The portfolio of all the investors will be divided into several segments, and I will be discussing that at the end of March. On the 1st or the 2nd April, I will hold a reporting webinar which will discuss the way we allocate the segments of the system that we already have, because this portfolio belongs to everyone. Will we have the opportunity to exchange the tokens for some solid currencies in June 2019? Well, we're not planning to do STO. Most probably STO will be on the 1st or the 2nd October. And we are going to hold an official ceremony of opening of this currency. Can bonuses from the personal account be used for purchasing of the cryptocurrency? Yes, indeed, that's possible. I think the questions have run out. I hope I have responded to all of the questions. What I would like to tell you, we are going to face really radical changes. Please put plus marks if you have had some revelation during this webinar, if you have received some positive feelings, if you have seen some light at the end of receiving. Well, the webinar will be probably held on the 17th or the 18th. It will be held by Antonina or someone else, probably by Max as well. But I want this webinar in Ukraine to provide everyone with a clear idea of what we want to do and why we are doing that. Thanks, my dear friends. I'm wishing all the best to each and every one of you. I'm wishing you all the best. I hope I haven't discouraged you and disappointed you. By the way, in Donetsk, once we have the crypto unit introduced, we will have a number of cryptomats in Donetsk. And it'll be all well and good there. Goodbye, all the best. See you next time. See you on the 2nd of March. The 2nd of March will be a major event in the office. For those who have invested, I will show you some things that will drive you absolutely crazy. But this information will be provided on the basis of a NDA agreement.